so this is maybe a little bit of a spicy video. I'm not sure, but I know that I've mentioned before that I've had multiple one-night stands, and I've also mentioned that knock on wood, a lot of the guys that I've hooked up with have been very, very good-looking guys. And I mean, it's true. It is true. But the question is, outside of that criteria, like, was there ever a one-night stand that I regret? You know, and I can go into the whole, well, everything that I've gone through has led me to where I'm at today, and I love myself, yada, 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 right? So, yeah, sure, that's true too. But in that journey, was there any particular or certain time where I thought, maybe I shouldn't have done that one? So that's what this story is about. My one-night stand that I regret. So I have to paint this story for you because it's freaking bonkers. So, okay, so I'm living in Florida, or I was living in Florida. I moved to Georgia. I have this boyfriend who's still in Florida. I end up cheating on my boyfriend. He breaks up with me, as he should. And now I'm in Georgia and I'm super depressed, like at one of the lowest points of my life, right? I felt so alone. And also at this time, a good friend of mine tells me like just devastating news that I did not know how to deal with. And I was just kind of losing it there for a second. And luckily I had a coworker who said, hey, I'm going to Florida for the weekend and see my family. Do you want to drive with me? I thought, great, I need to get away. I just need a break. So I said, fine. So we drive to Florida, and I don't even know how this freaking happened, but I ended up staying with my now ex-boyfriend, right? So I have to admit to you guys, that first night that I was there, I was kind of hoping that something would happen, like that we would get back together. And I don't know why, because it was conflicting. At the same time, I also knew that we didn't need to be together, that I didn't deserve him, and that I had a lot of growing up to do. Like, I knew this. I was in the moment thinking this, but also still thinking maybe something would happen and change, and just, I don't even know what, but I was just so alone. I was hoping that something would happen, right? So his roommate, she was like this party girl, like who went out all the time. So I remember the first night, you know, we're having a great time. So then she goes, hey, let's go out to the clubs. And he was not that type of dude. So he's like, no. He goes, you guys go, I'm fine. So the first night I'm like, no. I said, I'll stay here too. Again, waiting for something to happen. But nothing really happened. Like, we talked and everything was cool. And then even when we went to bed, we slept in the same bed together. But I don't know how to describe this, but of course, after being intimate with someone for so long, I knew like it was over. There was this coldness that was there that had never been there before. And it was kind of like, oh my gosh, this is done. And I just remember I cried, like I'm in bed crying, because the realization that it was over was kind of like fully setting in. And it sucked, but again, I deserved it. So I'm just there soaking in my misery that I thought that I knew I deserved, right? Or I was thinking that in my head. So, you know, the next day, the three of us, we hang out, we're having a great time. That night, roommate once again says, hey, let's go out. So I thought, okay, we'll go out. So we go out to the club, and we somehow get separated. And, you know, I'm drinking, having a good time. At one point, I end up at this bar. I'm talking to this one dude, and I'm really thinking, like, you know, I wasn't getting like any kind of vibe, like any sexual vibe. Like, I was really thinking he was out of my league. And so we were just talking. I thought maybe he just wants to talk, and you know, that's cool. So that's what's going on in my head. So I end up going to use the restroom. I come back, I bump into this other guy. Me and him start talking. So we kind of walk back to the first guy. We'll call him, the first guy, Aaron. So we walk back to Aaron, and now the three of us are talking. And so in my mind, I'm kind of thinking, oh, I think maybe they have a connection, you know, maybe so. That's kind of like the vibe that I was getting. So Aaron at one point, he goes, hey, why don't we go to a bathhouse? Now, to be honest with you guys, I had heard of a bathhouse, but I thought it was something that wasn't around anymore, like it was in history books. So I'm like, what's a bathhouse? So he kind of explains it to me, and I'm like, oh, wow. So again, I'm thinking, maybe they just want to be together. So I thought this is my way to kind of like exit stage left, right? So I'm like, hey, why don't you guys go? Like, you guys should go, and I'll be here. I'm like, it's totally cool. So Aaron at one point, like, he pulls me to the side. He's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, are you and him? Like, I was like, if you guys want to like be together, that's fine. He's like, no. He goes, like, I would love for you to come with me. And I'm like, oh, okay. I thought you were trying to, you know, like, no. Okay, cool. So I'm like, okay. So the other guy, he ends up saying, no, I'm going to stay behind. So me and Aaron, we go to the bathhouse, and it was just kind of like everything that I had seen in the movie since then, of how, like, again, I didn't really think that bathhouses existed, but it was like the movies. You go up there and you knock on the door, and a window opens up, and, you know, it's security, you know, all this stuff is going on, and they tell you the rules, and you pay, and you get this like room. And so we go up to the room and we change, and it's kind of like you have to take off all your clothes. You know, you can have a towel wrapped around you, but that's it. So that's how we do that, and we go down to the main pool. And I just remember, like, I had on my my hazel contacts that night, and sidebar, I think about what I was wearing that night, like, and I was wearing like these short, tight, like Daisy Dukes, and this like tight muscle shirt, and I freaking wish I had a picture so I could show you guys, but like, something I would never wear. I don't even know why I decided to put that outfit together, but I did. So let's just say I was happy to take it off, just because I felt uncomfortable the entire night. So I'd rather have been nude than to be wearing what I was wearing. So, you know, again, I got the towel, we go to the main pool. I'm swimming, and somehow I lose a green contact or a hazel contact, and so we're swimming around, and somehow I freaking found, in the middle of this huge pool, I found my contact and put it in a cup, and we just start walking around. And again, like the movies where you have hot tubs and saunas and like all these different rooms, and then you have dudes that are doing things, and like all this stuff is going on. And I remember Aaron saying, hey, do you it's like, I could take you back home, or, you know, we have this room. And you know, I'm tanked, so I'm like, I just would really just want to lay down, you know. So like, let's just go to the room. It's okay, fine. So we go to the room, and it was, I call it a room, but it kind of wasn't even a room. It was kind of like cubicles in a way, like weird cubicles, to where you could like climb over if you wanted to. But yeah, so that was kind of the situation. We go to the cubicle, and we get it on, right? The next morning, I don't know, I just remember we went to breakfast, and I don't even know how to describe it, but, you know, everything that I mentioned before, like how there was no chemistry, that was there the next morning. Even though like I could feel that he was trying to create chemistry, the back of my mind I was thinking, there's nothing here. And, you know, it was this whole thing, let me give you my number, are you promise you're gonna call me, you're gonna, you know, call me next time you're in Florida? And I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. But the entire time I'm thinking, like, I never this is kind of like weird for me to even vocalize, but I don't think I ever, you know, with every one night stand that I had, there was always, I felt like a specific kind of connection, even if it was just based on being in heat or like or whatever. There was something there, but this was the first time where like there was from the get-go, and as good looking as he was, because he was good looking, but there was no connection. I felt nothing. And that was the realization that the only reason why I was in this situation was because I was trying to soothe myself, that I hadn't faced what I'd done. I hadn't sat in that, and me thinking that I could just go around and just sleep with dudes and somehow that was gonna fix what was going on in my head and that was gonna make me grow and move on. That was bull. And this was kind of like it being placed on a silver platter in my face, like, no dude, like this is not gonna happen. Look at where you're at now. Look at what you just done, because there's nothing there. You feel nothing for this dude, and now here he is trying to make something happen that was never there, and that under normal circumstances you would not have allowed this to happen, but here you are because you're feeling sorry for yourself because you effed up. And you know, we all F up, but that doesn't mean that this is the route you take. That popped into my head. And I also thought about my ex, and the other thing that I thought about was that, okay, he's supposed to, if he were going to forgive you, was he supposed to do it in one night? You know, did you deserve for that to happen? You know, for him to forgive you that fast? No, you didn't. But look what you did just because you didn't get what you wanted, right? And I know, again, I'm not proud of the fact that I did that. And I realized that that's exactly why I did that. Yeah, so because of that, that is the one night stand that I regret, and it isn't because he wasn't attractive. It was because I did it for the wrong reason, the worst reason. You know, I guess you could say every one night stand is a bad reason, but this was the worst reason because it had nothing to do with even me wanting to have sex or anything like that. It was just more about me feeling sorry for myself and using sex as a way to get out of that. And to me, that's probably the worst reason why you could ever have sex. Maybe, right? So yeah, that's out of all of my encounters, my what's the word that Jada uses, my entanglements. Out of all this stuff that I heard, that's the one where I thought, you know, I could do without that notch on my belt. Like, it doesn't need to be there. It shouldn't have been there. So yeah, that's my story, and I have a feeling that some of you guys can relate to this, and girls, right? So please like, subscribe, and more importantly, comment. Tell me about your story. Tell me about if you've had a one-night stand that you regret.